Good morning, student. Now we are going to read the second chapter, Tsunami. First, look at the map. These are some group of islands, Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The capital city of these islands is Port Blair. Now, the question is, what is archipelago? You will see this term in the lesson. First, answer of this question. You will see this group of islands which are surrounded by sea. These are known as archipelago. Let us see first tsunami. In the first video, we will see the occurrence of tsunami. You carefully see the video, then we will talk.
All across northern Japan, they felt it. A violent magnitude 9.0 earthquake on March 11, 2011. It was centered about 80 miles offshore, and tsunami warnings went up immediately. In coastal cities, people knew what to do next: run to higher ground. It's from these vantage points on hills and in tall buildings that incredible footage was captured. In Kesanuma, people retreated to a high-rise rooftop and could only watch in horror as tsunami waves inundated their city, knocking buildings into rubble and mixing into a kind of tsunami soup filled with vehicles, building parts, and contents. Seawater cascaded over sea walls and into cities. This video shows the water rushing over an 18-foot seawall into Kamaishi City. The seawall here was the world's deepest and largest, but not enough for the magnitude of the March 11 disaster. It was the largest quake ever known in Japan, and one of the 5 largest recorded in the world. More than 28,000 people are confirmed dead or missing. When 2 tectonic plates push together under the sea, the resulting earthquake sends an enormous burst of energy up through the ocean, displacing enormous quantities of water. With the upward motion, a series of waves expands in all directions. In deep water, these waves travel fast, up to 500 miles an hour, but only reach a height of a few feet. A passing ship might not even notice. But as the waves enter shallow waters, friction with the ocean floor lowers the wave's speed, but raises their height. This video is from a Japan Coast Guard ship confronting a tsunami wave in shallow water on March 11. And a rare view from the air, video of a tsunami wave approaching the shoreline. In Japan, some tsunami waves reach as far as 3 miles inland. Japan may be the most seismologically studied country in the world, and with more than 1,200 high-precision GPS stations, a geophysicist at the University of Alaska used the data to create a visualization of the March 11 quake. The waves of displacement that you see were moving as fast as 5 miles per second. In this photo, the ripples of tsunami waves are seen moving upstream in the Naka River at Hitachi-Naka City. New technology left an enormous amount of visual evidence for study in years to come, and can perhaps help us better understand the power of earthquakes and tsunamis and prevent loss of life in the future.
Let us see the second video. In this video, we will see the tsunami hit some part of India on 26 December 2004. See the sea wave coming to the coast. This is the disruption of tsunami. Massive wave is creating too much destruction in the coastal area. Dear students, you have seen the wave is how much destructive. Now, let us see the meaning of tsunami. Tsunami comes from the Japanese language and consists of two syllables, namely su means port and nami means wave. Scientists used to mean the tidal wave or seismic sea waves. Tsunami is a sea wave that comes suddenly with a high speed that leads to the coast due to volcanic activity or earthquake under the sea. Now, what is the cause of tsunami? We will see in the sequence of cause. When an earthquake occurs and the surface of the seabed rises down along the fault, then that is when the tsunami is formed. In the first video you have seen, it has been explained there. The fault causes the balance of seawater to be disturbed. A large fault will produce big waves as well. Shortly after the earthquake, seawater will recede and will return to the mainland in the form of a big wave that is known as tsunami. Tsunami also occurs due to volcanic eruption on the seabed causing high movement of seawater or nearby waters. Tsunami is a natural calamity or disaster like floods, landslide, cyclones or earthquakes. Every year you may have seen in the visuals of television, print media and visual media the destruction of cyclone, floods, landslides and tsunami. On 26 December 2004, a tsunami hit Thailand and parts of India such as the Andaman and Nicobar and the Tamil Nadu coast. Then you can imagine the destruction created by tsunami. From that real incident, here's some stories of courage and survival. First is Ignatius. Ignatius was the manager of a cooperative society in Kachal. His wife woke him up at 6 am because she felt an earthquake. Ignatius carefully placed down his articles so that it would not fall and break. Then the family rushed out of the house. When the tremors stopped, they saw the sea rising. Two of his children caught hold of the hands of their mother's father and mother's brother and rushed in the opposite direction. He never saw them again. His wife was also swept away. Only the three other children who came with him were saved. Now, another story we see about Sanjeev. He was a policeman. He was serving in the Kachal Island of the Nicobar group of islands. Somehow he managed to save himself, his wife, and his baby daughter from the waves. But then he heard cries of help from the wife of John, the guest house cook. Sanjeev jumped into the water to rescue her, but they were both swept away. 13-year-old Meghna, who was swept away along with her parent, 77 other people. She was floated in the sea for 2 days, holding a wooden door. She saw hovering relief helicopters overhead 11 times, but got no help and was found walking on the seashore in a daze. Another story is about Almas Javed. She was 10 years old, a student of Carmel Convent in Port Blair, where her father had a petrol pump. Her mother Rahila's home was in Nankori Islands. The family had gone there to celebrate Christmas. Almas Javed, 10 years old girl, she went there to celebrate Christmas with parents, but when the tremors came in the early morning, the family was sleeping. Alma's father saw the sea water recede. He understood that the water would come rushing back with great force. He woke everyone up and tried to rush them to a safer place, but her father and her grandfather were swept away in the giant wave. Almas lost her mother and aunt in the wave. She was floating with the help of a log of wood. She climbed on it and fainted. When she opened her eyes in the hospital in Kamorta, she was still traumatized. Dear student, the meaning of traumatized is greatly shocked and distressed. Recede means move back from where it was. Alma's mother and aunts stood clinging to the leaves of a coconut tree, calling out to her. A wave uprooted the tree and they too were washed away. So this made a great impact of Alma's mind. That is why she was traumatized. Now the second story we will see about Tilly Smith from Thailand. Tilly Smith was a 10-year-old British girl, was able to save many lives when the tsunami struck Phuket beach in Thailand. She was celebrating Christmas with her parents and 7 years old sister at a beach resort in southern Thailand. On 26 December 2004, early morning, they felt a massive tremor. His father, Penny Smith, he remembered the water was swelling and kept coming in. The beach was getting smaller and smaller. I don't know what was happening. But Telly Smith, she sensed, she sensed that something was wrong. Her mind kept going back to a geography lesson she had taken in England just 2 weeks before she flew out to Thailand with her family. She had been shown a video in a geography lesson in England. It was about the occurrence of tsunami. Her geography teacher had told them that tsunami can be caused by earthquakes, volcanoes, and landslides. Telly Smith, she started to warn of parents and other tourists on the beach because she understood that something very bad is going to happen. Her father took her hand and also shouted the other tourists. They took shelter in the third floor of the hotel. The building withstood the surge of the three tsunami waves. Later, Tilly went back when they saved their life. The other tourists, thanks to Tilly and her geography lesson, they had been forewarned. When Tilly went back to her school in England and told her classmate her terrifying tale. Now, the third story from Sri Lanka. This is the summary of the story. Dear student, you will see in the slide the summary of the story. The detailed story is given in your textbook. So you don't understand, the story is very small. Okay, it has been given in your book 3 parts. So this is the third part from Sri Lanka. Before the giant waves slammed into the coast in India and Sri Lanka, wild and domestic animals seemed to know what was about to happen. They fled to safety. According to eyewitness accounts, elephants screamed and ran for higher ground. Dogs refused to go outdoors. Flamingos abandoned their low-lying breeding areas, and zoo animals rushed into their shelters and could not be enticed to come back out. It is believed that animals possess a sixth sense and know when the earth is going to shake. Some experts believe that animals' more acute hearing power that enable them to hear or feel the earth's vibration. They can sense an approaching disaster long before humans realize what is going on. But the fact is that the giant waves told more than 150,000 people in a dozen countries. But not many animals have been reported dead. Along India's Kadlore coast, where thousands of people perished, buffaloes, goats, and dogs were found unharmed. The Yala National Park in Sri Lanka is home to a variety of animals, including elephants, leopards, and 130 species of birds. 60 visitors were washed away from the Patangala beach inside the park, but no animal carcasses were found except for two water buffaloes. About an hour before the tsunami hit, people at Yala National Park had observed three elephants running away from the Patangala beach. A Sri Lankan gentleman who lives on the coast near Gale said his two dogs would not go for their daily run on the beach. They are usually excited to go on this outing, but on that day they refused to go and most probably saved his life. So, dear students, we have read this story. Now we try to know some points which are very important to know. Dear students, do you know what happens after a natural disaster takes place? Let us answer. It is very challenging task to save people from disaster, but after this giant task is completed, then begins the new task of rehabilitate people so that they can come back to their normal life away from the haunting memories of disaster. Among them, the main victims are children, young children, because they are very sensitive. The result of the accident can have long lasting effect on their mind or can suffer from emotional stress or on their minds. That is why such children are kept in the rehabilitation centers in order to take care of their physical and emotional needs. Key points of the story. In the most difficult time, we need to be alert and aware and keen observer. Whether we are on the mountains enjoying a snowfall or near a sea beach talking to the waves. Disaster can happen anywhere and anytime. In the time of disaster, we should keep our mind cool. No need to be panicked. Courage can help us to face the challenge and give us power to come out from it. So, dear students, I hope you understand the lesson. You will do the comprehension check questions and you read the text. You story is very easy, simple language, so you can understand yourself. Thank you. Have a nice day.